is the Bottom Line Podcast. I'm Jimmy Finizzi alongside Neil Villapiano. We hope you're doing well. As always, thank you guys so much for taking some time out of your day to listen to us. We really do appreciate it. Before we get started and introduce two of our great friends, questions, opinions, you know the deal. Twitter at BottomLineWMCX, at the NVP Show, and on Instagram at BottomLineWMCX, hashtag BottomLine, voice message, anchor.fm, or the app. You know the deal there. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you leave a like and a comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe, as well as on Apple, Google, and Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Just include my first name, Jimmy, when searching for this podcast. So, Neil, I got to be honest for a second. Out of all the things that we could have discussed for this episode, we could have been discussing the NBA draft lottery. We could have been discussing the Stanley Cup playoffs and how there were 4 or 5 game series taking place. We could have done with all that, but no, you have decided to sucker me into getting educated about soccer.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on.
I'm kidding.
Into anything.
I'm kidding around. But
first of all, I have 2 comments. One, maybe not everybody knows the deal on how they can find the podcast. So you gotta start saying that. Not everybody knows. 2, you have a trivia question today because you forgot again.
I will have it at the end of the episode.
No. Introduce our friends and then ask a question.
I will have it at the end of the episode.
No,
I promise.
We'll do it at the beginning.
I did this last time and I actually had it. So trust me here. Trust me.
But you've also said you had it at the end and you forgot to do it. So
not last time. This time I will again. I promise. And this time it'll be for you.
Put their bets down in the comments as to how much they think.
Place your bets, everybody. All right. But no, not only will it be for you, Neil, but it will also be for 2 of our great friends who are joining us right now. Once again, welcome back, Steve Durso and Garrett Novak. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
I'm doing well. A little stressed, but doing well.
Garrett, great, guys. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, guys, dude, it's our pleasure. Welcome back, guys. And if you're wondering why Steve is stressed out, it's because he's watching the New York Red Bulls play NYCFC. And from what I've been told, the Red Bulls do not look good. They've been terrible so far this season, and their head coach, Chris Armas, absolutely needs to go. I'm pretty sure Red Bull fans have been arguing that ever since he first took the job, but that's an entirely different discussion for another day. But today's discussion, before we get into my trivia question for the week, today they're going to educate me about the Champions League final, because we have our matchup. It is going to be Bayern Munich against PSG. Now, I actually did a little bit of research here before we actually started to get going here. Apparently, and not surprisingly, Bayern Munich are the favorites for the final at plus 105, with PSG checking in at plus 230. So, while clearly I know nothing about soccer, so I'm just going to lay that out right now just so everybody knows. In case you don't know, I don't it's not that I don't watch soccer. I do. I will watch the World Cup. Absolutely, yes.
It's that you don't watch soccer.
No, I don't.
Watch soccer.
I don't. It's not that I dislike it. It's just the sport that I haven't really gotten around to watch as much as, obviously, Neil, Steve, and Garrett, who know way more than me. So with those odds set in place for both teams, I guess whoever wants to start, I guess Neil, I'll leave things off with you. Kind of like just break down this game and what you really expect from both teams.
Well, first of all, I would think that for the first time in a couple of years, I think this is a matchup that I think a lot of people on paper would say was something that we were hoping for, considering how both of these teams are very, very talented offensively.
And actually, by the way, sorry to cut you off, Neil, but isn't this PSG's first time playing for a championship?
Correct. Yes. PSG for the first time in their history are playing in the Champions League final. As Steve in particular will tell you, PSG for the last many, many years, I can't even count at this point, have known to get into, European football, but pretty much choke one way or another. I can recall, last year they played Manchester United, and they had them on the ropes. I mean, it was pretty much dead. Man United was pretty much dead in the water. But I'm sure Garrett, you can't see him, but I'm sure he has a smile on his face right now.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Neil, but
yes.
infamous examples when they went up 4-0 against Barca in the first leg and blew it.
True. They did blow that, and they ended up getting knocked out there. I mean, I don't think – and random thing, I don't think Barcelona ended up winning Champions League that year.
They did not.
They
No,
did
they
not.
lost the next match 3-0 to Juventus.
I mean, that
Who ended up making the final.
exactly.
Gotcha.
So PSG, you know, their whole thing, has been to try to win Champions League because they dominate Ligue 1, which is League One, the main French football league in that country. So they dominate year after year. They don't really have much competition other than maybe AS Monaco at the best, and they just haven't been able to get over the hump when it comes to being successful in European football. And this year, they really, really made it a point that they had to come together and play a team game. I think the last couple of years they've been focused on, you know, having individual guys step up and carry the team. And I think this year, more than any other year I've seen, PSG has really worked into the team aspect. And that's why I think they've had the success that they've had. And as a result, they are in the Champions League final. And they seem to be really enjoying playing with each other. I think this is the happiest I've seen Neymar been since he arrived in PSG.
I was going to say, Neymar seems to look like he's having the time of his life, and he's actually having a pretty good season.
Right. And, you know, you have obviously the French superstar in Kylian Mbappe, who I think within the next 2 or 3 years will be the best player in the entire world.
I was also going to bring that up as well, because he seemed to be, sorry to cut you off again, Neil, but he seemed to be one of the bright stars of the World Cup back in 2018, I want to say, right?
He wasn't one of the bright spots. He was the bright spot of the entire competition. I mean, this kid, you know, came from AS Monaco and then, you know, transferred to PSG, and everybody knew he was good. I know that Thierry Henry had said when he was very, very young that this kid had the potential to be a world-class player, and that 2018 World Cup really put his name on the map. It really got people to say, who is this kid? Where did he come from? And now he is, you know, one of the top players in the world right now. And, you know, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo are getting up there in age. They maybe have another couple of years left playing professionally in Europe. But within another year or two, I do believe that Kylian Mbappe will be the best player in all of Europe because this kid is just that phenomenal of a talent. And I think that if PSG is able to keep him long term, I think that would give them a good chance to once again compete, you know, for another handful of years to try to get back to winning European football. This whole thing that PSG has done, their whole, I guess you would call it project or plan, has kind of built up to this moment that now they get the chance to play in the Champions League final and finally exercise all of the demons that they've had to deal with regards to choking in the Champions League. Now, I don't personally believe that if PSG were to lose, that they would just be criticized once again, because you have to talk about Bayern. You know, there was an old term with the Soviet Union hockey team back in the day, you know, when they were just dominant. You know, they were a big red, you know, powerhouse.
Right.
Bayern Munich is a big red powerhouse. Now, they do play in the Bundesliga, which is the top German football league, and there are a handful of teams that are very good and very competitive. But as far as winning the league, Bayern Munich just dominates year in and year out. They're just that much better than everyone else. And that is obviously a cause for, you know, concern, because you would like to have, you know, many, many different teams like you have in the Premier League that could constantly compete every year.
Well, I was also going to bring up the fact that when you have guys like Robert Lewandowski, Alphonso Davies, and Thomas Mueller playing, it kind of sets a tone with who three of the best players are right there.
Robert Lewandowski is not only the best number 9 in all of Europe, he should win the Ballon d'Or. I mean, he is the best player this year. I know that people want to give it to Messi because it's Messi, but Robert Lewandowski.
Can't somebody else win it though? Come on.
Well, I mean, that's the issue sometimes with bias.
I mean, no disrespect to Messi, but still,
well,
somebody else should get that chance.
Well, again, you know, look, Robert Lewandowski, ever since he got to Bayern Munich, has made it a point that he wanted to become one of the most recognizable faces in European football, and he is. And I think he's still very underrated because he plays on a team like Bayern Munich. And this guy is a scoring machine. All he does is score goals. He reminds me very much so of a guy like, and this is a weird comparison, but he reminds me of, a guy like Bradley Wright Phillips, who everybody says all he does is score goals. All he does is put the ball in the back of the net. That's Lewandowski. Every single game, he is right there. He'll get 2, 3, 4 shots a game. And he had a beautiful header in the semifinal against Lyon, and that was classic Lewandowski, in my opinion. Lewandowski is the machine of that. He is the captain of that team in the sense of the offense goes when he goes. Wherever he's going, that's how the offense is going to go. Right. And then you have arguably one of the best players to come out of North America in Alphonso Davies, who I think is the fastest player, with regards to pace. He is the fastest player in Europe. Nobody else can really catch up with him. And, Thomas Müller said that, he's the road runner. They go, he's the road runner. That's basically who he is. This kid is a once-in-a-generational talent. And he made Barcelona's defense look absolutely putrid. I mean, Barcelona, I don't think I'd ever seen a player.
Oh, man.
You look at the goal that he scored against Barcelona, it was ridiculous. It was complete and utter world class. It was phenomenal. And you have so many other guys on that team that they're not the greatest, most talented team, maybe, but when they play as a team itself, they're unstoppable. They beat Barcelona 8-2. And they flat out, excuse my language, and I know Steve, is a Barcelona fan, but Barcelona got their ass kicked. They had no business being there. I mean, and I know this is going to sound biased because I'm a Napoli fan, but if Napoli had played Bayern Munich, I don't think it wouldn't have been 8-2. I don't think so. I think I think that game was a combination of Barcelona's time is done. I don't think that Barcelona is going to recover from this. And also that it's Bayern Munich's opportunity. They want to win their 6th European, Champions League championship. By the way, Steve, it is 6. They're going for title number 6.
That's what I thought.
Right, it's title number 6. And, I mean, you have people on that team that just understand. And you have to remember that Hansi Flick, we weren't really sure what Bayern Munich was going to get in Hansi Flick. But once he took over, all he basically did was one little change. Instead of the team playing with maybe 3 guys up front, they pretty much said, we're going to do a full attacking press. Very similar to what you've seen with Liverpool. It's the same thing, but it's like, it's basically Liverpool's system on steroids. I mean, that's what it is. Is Bayern Munich's defense great? It's solid. It's not phenomenal, but their offense is so unbelievably hard to beat that they are just at times just incredibly invincible. And it's been phenomenal. I'm excited for this matchup because you have 2 teams that play very similar. I think the difference in the game will be whose defense is going to end up, stepping up to the challenge. And I think PSG has a little bit better defense, not, dramatically better than Bayern Munich, but I do think PSG has a little bit of an advantage from that standpoint. But I'll say this. If Bayern Munich within the first 10 minutes of that game scores a goal, that game's over. PSG is not coming back. Because
it's definitely going to be hard to come back from 1-0, definitely.
I mean, look, Bayern Munich has blown out several teams in the Champions League this year. It's not like they beat up Chelsea at Chelsea, by the way, at Stamford Bridge. It was bad. And also, Serge Gnabry, about 4 years ago, nobody thought that he could play in the Premier League. Nobody thought he could play anywhere. People thought he was just a waste of time. He scored 2 goals in the Champions League semifinal and is constantly a force. If Lewandowski, if you slow him down, guess what? Gnabry 1v1 is virtually impossible.
It's pretty much a wrap.
It's a wrap, exactly. And I think a lot of people thought that, Bayern was now getting older. A lot of their main guys are in their mid to late 30s that, now they're going to start getting older. A lot of those guys' careers have been revived in many different ways. I mean, we were talking about maybe 6 to 8 months ago, several of those guys that were going to go out the door, and I know Alaba still may go. It all depends on, and I know Thiago might be moving to Liverpool, which, I mean, I think at this point, once the Champions League is over, he's probably going to move. It's a done deal by that standpoint. But all in all, what I am most excited about is just that you have two very talented, offensively minded teams going into this Champions League final. And I think we're going to get a relatively high scoring game. I mean, I think we're going to see like maybe 3, 4, 5 goals. But I think it's going to come down to which team makes the first mistake. Which team makes the first mistake? Whoever makes the first mistake, in my opinion, is going to falter. So if Bayern Munich goes down 1-0, I don't think it's over, but it'll certainly surprise them because Bayern is used to getting out in front very early on and really putting that pressure on. And it's going to be a clash of two very, very, very different types of teams from different places, different leagues, different backgrounds. It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. You have two very likable coaches in Thomas Tuchel and Hansi Flick. And, I'm going to be happy regardless of the result because, I'm a fan of both teams. I won't lie. Maybe I'm I would say that I'm probably a little bit more Bayern Munich than I am PSG because of the fact that I love German football. I really love the way it's played. I love the Bundesliga. This year was the first year that I really watched it intensely, and I loved it. And I'm looking forward to, next season, whenever that might be. But we got a good Champions League final. It's a shame that there won't be fans there. It really is. Because I think that would really, really be interesting to see, the supporter section of Paris fans, which has had a reputation for being, for lack of a better term, pretty wild. Whereas, you look at Bayern Munich supporter section, they're not wild, but they're very, very, vocal. They're very, very loud. It would be, and it's just going to be fun. I'm really excited for this one.
Oh, absolutely. Steve, Garrett, whoever wants to chime in, feel free to go ahead.
Sure. First, I never want to hear the term Farmers League ever again.
Even from you, by the way.
I never want to hear that term
because you've said it numerous times.
Again.
Who the hell called it a Farmers League?
Everyone. You have everyone. It's
everybody
like
has.
You go into a comment of like German football, especially French football, you'll see the comment Farmers League.
Why? That doesn't make any sense to me.
It's like, Jimmy, what I was saying, I said it before. PSG dominates League One all the time. There aren't that many teams in League One that are really that competitive. Once they get to the Champions League or Europa League, they usually get knocked out pretty early on. This was one of those years where it wasn't the case. It just happened to be that you had two French teams that were in the Final Four, and that was big. But with regards to, if you look at just go back the last 5 years, you'll see the difference between when PSG wins and how many points they're in front of everyone else, and you'll say there is definitely a lack of competitiveness within that league.
Absolutely. Steve, feel free to go ahead.
Sure. So I want to start with Bayern Munich because I've watched quite a bit of Bayern, not much PSG. Bayern Munich, they started out slow this year. They didn't really have, the best start to say. I mean, it looked like this was finally going to be the year where someone not named Bayern was going to win the Bundesliga for the first few months, specifically in Borussia Dortmund and RB Leipzig. But yeah, ever since they changed their coach, they made that coaching change.
Yeah,
they've been lights out, like absolutely lights out. Classic Bayern Munich, and ever since the restart, they've looked like the best team in Europe.
Question. I'm sorry, Neil, but did they change coaches in the middle of the season?
Yes.
Or before the season started?
Middle of the season.
Middle of the season. Okay.
About 3 months into the year, they fired Novak, who, I mean, he was never going to be the long-term coach. I think Bayern was looking for somebody that they could implement long-term, and Novak was just not liked from the get-go. Bayern was still winning games, but they weren't winning them the way that they're capable of doing so with the talent. Right. What Hansi Flick basically did, like I said, was that he just created a higher pressed offense, and with the young and the speed that they have, and even adding guys like Leroy Sané, which thank God they finally got that done, for next season, it's phenomenal. I mean, you have someone like Philippe Coutinho coming to Bayern Munich on loan, is on the bench, and he scores 2 goals against Barcelona in the Champions League. I mean, he's able to get guys to play at a level that maybe some of them were not capable of playing before they got to Bayern Munich.
Right.
And again, my personal opinion, that if Bayern Munich were to go on and win the Champions League, this might be one of the greatest teams in Bayern Munich's history, considering
and that's saying a lot.
Considering the amount of records, the amount of dominance that they've had, not just in the Bundesliga, but what they were able to do against some of the top teams in Europe.
Yeah, Bayern Munich is not only one of the gold standards of Germany, but they're one of the gold standards of the world. Like a lot of clubs, you want to get like Bayern Munich. They have a great academy. They're really good at bringing young players in. They have a lot of good stars like Robert Lewandowski, who I know there's no Ballon d'Or this year due to COVID, but if there was, hands down, it would go to Robert Lewandowski. Got more goals than pretty much anyone in Champions League.
Very, very interesting. Garrett, let's get you in here, Garrett. Feel free to speak your mind on this.
I am thoroughly convinced that Neil read all of my notes.
Were you in Garrett's room or something? What happened here? What's going on here?
Basically, word for word, said almost everything that I wanted to say.
First of all,
wow. Okay.
The advantage that I have over everyone is that I'm a fan of both of these teams, so I've watched both of them. So I understand what's going on here.
Well, I guess, Garrett, if you have anything else to add to what Neil stole from you, feel free to go ahead.
As I scroll through my notes and see, Neil said that. Neil said that. He said that too. Look, I'm going to agree with Neil. This is probably one of the best case scenarios for a final that we could have had. 2 very open and attacking teams that for the neutral, this should be so much fun. There should be a lot of goals. And I'm so looking forward to watching this game on Sunday.
Now hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'm sorry to cut you guys off, but Garrett, considering the fact that these 2 teams can score a lot, could we possibly see the highest scoring game ever in Champions League history?
Is it out of the realm of possibility? No. I'll be honest, I can't remember off the top of my head what the actual highest scoring final is. Okay. But I think it's possible, considering how many goals each team can score, especially when we look at the attacking options on both sides. We've talked a lot about Bayern's attacking options, especially Lewandowski, who last time I checked, I think is at 55 goals in all competitions this year, Bundesliga, Champions League, and all the competitions.
Yeah, I think the only person who's ahead of him is that guy from Lazio, right?
Immobile. Maybe in the league, but I think Lewandowski has it in all competitions. Yeah. But I'd say in league play, I think you're right on Immobile from Lazio. And then we mentioned players like Serge Gnabry, the former Arsenal man himself. You're welcome, Steven. Players like Thomas Muller, who has been rejuvenated under Hansi Flick after looking almost dead in the water under coaches like Kovac. Even Ivan Perisic, who I believe is still on loan from Inter and is in for and on that left-hand side has looked very great on his return to the Bundesliga. And then you look at PSG's side and you look at players like Neymar that we've talked about. We look at players like Kylian Mbappe that we've talked about. You also have goal poachers like Mauro Icardi, who has transferred from Inter, I believe permanently now, was on loan this season and now has been made permanent. And Angel Di Maria, who also won a Champions League with Real Madrid about 6 years ago or so. So the attacking options on each side are just mouth-watering, and you expect plenty of goals. I would say especially from PSG because of the way Bayern presses, like Neil mentioned. They play a very high line, so their defensive line is very close to midfield, so it's a lot easier to run in behind. We've seen teams like Lyon in the semifinal try to take advantage of that. and albeit not to great effect because their finishing was a little questionable. I'll say that much. But I think if PSG
a
are
little
to
questionable, a little bit,
yeah, just a little bit. But I think if PSG focuses on that and tries to get in behind to the defense, who they're not slow, but they're not the quickest, especially with players like Nicolas Sula, Jerome Boateng, David Alba can be pretty quick. But their main center backs are not the quickest. So I think getting in behind would be the best way for PSG to go. And again, I think that makes it very interesting and very appetizing for someone that is just looking to watch the game. I think as a whole, I'm personally leaning towards Bayern. I think a part of it comes down to that championship experience. They do have a number of players that we've pretty much talked about. Thomas Muller, David Alaba, Jerome Boateng, Manuel Neuer as well, their goalkeeper, who are still playing at a very high level and were on the team the last time that Bayern won the Champions League in 2013. So I think that championship pedigree, and considering they've all played for the team since that last triumph and played that game when they won against Dortmund in 2013, I think that gives them the edge. But at least PSG do have some experience, or do have some players with Champions League experience in terms of winning the trophy, like Di Maria, like Neymar when he won with Barcelona in 2015. That's really about all I could add because Neil's plagiarizing my notes.
Oh
That's what I'm saying.
God! How dare you, Neil? How dare you?
Really don't. About Boateng, a lot of people underestimate him because when you think of Roy Boateng, what do you think of? You think of when that time when Messi dropped him.
Like a tree, yes.
Exactly. That's what
So
you
what?
think when you think of Boateng.
So what? It don't matter.
Very, very solid during Bayern Munich's Champions League campaign. I'm very impressed. Sort of got his revenge against Barcelona. You really ate to see it.
I mean, look,
Nice.
You know what?
The cherry on top of that is Philippe Coutinho. He plays for Bayern Munich, but he's still a Barca player, and he got in on the fun.
He scored 2 goals off the bench. He didn't even
wow!
start
Did he really?
Against the team he technically plays for.
And you know what I thought was the best thing that happened for Bayern Munich was I think 2 or 3 days before, Arturo Vidal, who had gone from Bayern Munich to Barcelona, had been asked about what he felt or what he expected from the match, and he said that Bayern Munich was going to crumble because Messi was going to destroy them, and Vidal just sat there on the bench and watched his old club absolutely wipe the floor with Barcelona. And
I will say, in that match, someone I was very impressed with. I was a little worried about him because, we, as MLS fans, we've pretty much watched him his entire career. Alphonso Davies. Confession: I've actually seen Alphonso Davies play in person.
Who did he play for?
The Vancouver Whitecaps.
He played for Vancouver. Okay.
Yeah, I've actually seen him play in person. He is one of the fastest players I have ever seen on a pitch.
I've heard.
You were with me for that one, right?
He has an incredible set of skills that are just unheard of for his position. And
already people are calling him potentially the best left back in the world. I don't know if he's the best left back in the world, but he's
gotta give him time.
Really, really good.
Give him a little bit of time.
And one matchup I am particularly very looking forward to is Alphonso Davies versus Kylian Mbappe. Alphonso Davies, he's fast, roadrunner. Kylian Mbappe, he's also ridiculously fast. Well, arguably the best young player in the world.
This is going to be that, people were talking about, Messi versus, Alphonso Davies was the ultimate test. And I would say that Davies passed it with flying colors. I mean, he really did. I think this is going to be the last big test for Alphonso Davies to really cement himself for the future as being considered the best left back in all of Europe. If he can shut down Kylian Mbappe and Bayern Munich wins, I think that would pretty much cement it right away. To answer your question, by the way, Garrett, Bayern's 8-2 thrashing of Barcelona was actually the 3rd highest win by a single team in a Champions League game in
Wow.
Jeez.
The only 2 other games that finished higher were when AS Monaco beat Deportivo La Coruña. Why does it say Corona?
Oh my God.
La Coruña.
Seriously?
I'm not making this up. Corona on was it May 11, 2003, and then the highest scoring game in Champions League history actually happened about 4 years ago. On November 22nd, 2016, Borussia Dortmund beat Legia Warsaw 8-4.
8-4.
I'd say the only difference is
My
between
God.
those is that this one's probably the most shocking, Barca Bayern, because they're two very high-profile teams.
Yes.
You know, Barca being arguably the second biggest club in the entire sport, in all of sports, to be honest. And then Bayern Munich, who you know their pedigree. They're one of the greatest clubs ever.
Right.
I think what everybody expected from that Bayern Munich Barcelona game was that it was going to be competitive. It was going to finish like 2-1, maybe 3-2. It wasn't going to be the thrashing. But once it got to be about 3-0, you knew it was over. I just don't think people thought it was going to get that out of hand. It was like when the Arizona Coyotes in the last two games in the Stanley Cup playoffs gave up a total of, I think, 15 goals, 14 goals. I mean, nobody expected them to give up the amount of goals that they did. I don't think people expected Barcelona to give up the amount of goals that they did. But that just goes to show you there's so much chaos going on at Camp Nou right now that it was only a matter of time before they were going to have a performance like this. I thought it was going to happen with Napoli. I thought that they really were going to lose that game at home.
Mm-hmm.
But losing to Bayern Munich in the way that they did, it's got to be an embarrassing thing for Lionel Messi and Barcelona. But
I want to get into PSG real quickly because I'm going to be honest. I had them losing against Atalanta. I couldn't trust them. I couldn't trust PSG. They have all these big names, but they always bottle it when it matters most in the Champions League.
The only big name I know on that roster is Neymar.
Different. This year, I would say a key difference between past PSG teams and this year's, they're healthy.
Yep.
Neymar has been injured pretty much every time PSG has lost in the Champions League. Am I right?
Yep.
I think you're right, yeah.
This year, he's healthy. He's finally healthy. He's playing top form. He's with Kylian Mbappe, who we all know is the best young player in the world. Angel Di Maria has been a revelation for PSG. They have proven me wrong. They've proven pretty much everyone wrong. Like, I actually did think RB Leipzig could also win as well because, like I said, I can't trust PSG when it matters most. But once again, they proved me wrong.
I was just going to say, like I said before, this is their first time even playing for championship. They've never made a final before.
They've never – this is their first time – shockingly, their first time ever in the Champions League final. I mean, they're only like a 50-year-old club, which is pretty young when it comes to teams like that. Heck, for a long time, they were one of the small – they weren't actually good at all. Right. They were one of the smaller teams in France, like teams like Marseille, Lyonnais. Those were the teams. But now, in recent years, PSG has become the best team in France, like the team to beat. They have the most money. They get the best players. They have the coolest uniforms, which is very much true. I mean, they have Jordan Brand for heck's sake.
This whole process that PSG has put in that got to the point that they're at right now does go back to when they had a 4-0 lead against Barcelona in the Champions League and completely blew. I mean, just that.
And I will say that game was the best comeback I have ever seen.
The only reason,
and that's when I wasn't even a hint of a Barca fan.
The only problem with that is that it didn't help propel them to winning a Champions League. I think it would have been even more incredible had they gone on to win it that year, but they didn't. But going back to that point, you look at what PSG has done. They made the choice to bring in Neymar. And this was a controversial thing, and he was scrutinized for several years. It felt like every day there were rumors about him leaving PSG after a year to go play, Real Madrid or Manchester United, Arsenal. So many different rumors, and he was criticized for his off-the-field antics, for constantly not staying healthy, for being a locker room cancer, for being a prima donna. There were all these different things. And here's the thing. Neymar has won a Champions League. He won it with Messi and Suarez. But that wasn't Neymar's Champions League title. That was Messi's, because that was Messi's team. That was always going to be the case. Neymar has an opportunity, if he can help propel PSG to beating Bayern Munich and winning Champions League this year, to have almost everything negative that has happened to him over the last couple of years be completely forgotten and forgiven if he's able to do it, because this would be his Champions League. You could say, oh yeah, he had Kylian Mbappe and all those guys, but no, Neymar's the main cog in this machine. Neymar was brought here to do exactly what PSG is trying to do on Sunday, to try to win it. And remember, nobody knew who Kylian Mbappe was at first, really, when he came to PSG. Most of us knew him as this young phenom, and Steve could vouch for this. There's always those many young wonder kid phenom players that get bought that we don't know about originally.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Kylian Mbappe was on a Monaco team who had some ridiculous players who made a run to the semifinal the year before, and he was the bright spot on that team. The problem and the argument that I've always made, and this is coming from an American fan who's trying to learn the sport, it wasn't until 2018 when Mbappe got on the world stage that people, not even just soccer purists, but sports fans in general, found out who Kylian Mbappe really is. That I will agree with you. That I will agree on.
And that's what really got him to the superstar level that he's at right now.
Yeah, that I'm gonna agree on, because if you knew the sport well, you knew Kylian Mbappe was a player on the rise at Monaco. He had potential to be one of the best in the world, especially when he went, the PSG. Like, Real Madrid's been after him for like years now. But when he basically became the best player in France on a World Cup winning squad, that's when the world truly knew who Kylian Mbappe was.
Absolutely.
It goes to show. And, but again, is this Kylian Mbappe's PSG team? I would say no. I would say because, again,
it's Neymar's team
to do the job. This was Neymar's. This has to be Neymar's team. And that's no disrespect to Mbappe, but right now, this is his team. This is that opportunity for Neymar to get the monkey off his back to say he can't win a Champions League or can't win prestigious awards without Messi and Suarez. If he does this helps. This puts him in a position where people can really start to, ignore a lot of the off-the-field antics. Once Cristiano Ronaldo won his first Champions League and started winning at Real, people kind of forgot about some of the off-field crap that he still does it, but at this point it's like, well, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. He can do whatever he wants. Same thing with
right.
It's like once you win a Champions League, your legacy is cemented. If Neymar wins the Champions League, he right away, in many people's minds, is the greatest player in PSG history. He's the greatest player because he did something that no other player to ever come to PSG, ever star player, could do. And you have to remember, not too long ago, PSG had the likes of Zlatan Ibrahimovic and David Beckham, who both were Zlatan was more in the prime of his career. David Beckham was towards the twilight of his career.
That was after his LA Galaxy stint.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. So they've had great players come and play at PSG, but they've never been able to go win it. And I think the biggest difference this year, other than staying healthy, is that they started to play team football. They weren't worried about, Neymar wasn't cussing out Cavani to say, oh, I want to take the penalty shot. It's like, whoever gets it is going to go take it. And nobody cares. You can see it. Neymar hasn't scored a lot the last couple of matches, but he's been able to create a lot of noise and create a lot of attention around himself to allow other guys to shine. Like Marquinhos, that goal that he scored to give PSG the lead in the semifinal, that was mainly because Neymar set it up. You looked at it, and that shows you things. Mbappe didn't, go absolutely crazy the last couple of games either. I know he was hurt a little bit, but still, other guys stepped up. Other guys realized that they had to play team football. That's how you win championships in this sport. You don't win it on individual performances. You win it on a team base. That's why people have always praised Barcelona. Why have they won? Because they win because they are a team. They play team football. That's how they develop in their academies. okay? Every once in a while, you buy a championship. You could say in a way that PSG could, if they win, they bought a Champions League title because of Neymar. But they brought in other guys that didn't cost that much, that understand their role on the team and have played very, very well. And Bayern Munich is built the same way. Bayern Munich's a little bit different because they're very much about loyalty. A lot of their players are guys that were brought into their academy, developed from their system, and have just played there their entire career and don't want to go anywhere else. And that's what you're seeing. So I think when it comes to pressure in this game, I don't think Bayern Munich has as much pressure in this final as PSG does, because Bayern Munich, I think, has a good opportunity to go long and try to compete for this title again next year.
Right.
We don't know what's going to happen with PSG after this year. We really don't know. We don't know if they're just going to blow it up. I doubt that they would, but, we don't know. We know that the ownership.
Well, if they do, this might be their only chance then.
And we know that ownership, their main goal is to win a European title. And this is it. This is the opportunity. And if they don't win it this year, the next best thing that they'll probably try to do is try to bring in Cristiano Ronaldo. We had already heard that, Ronaldo wanted to leave Juventus and go play at PSG. I don't know how the hell PSG would afford it without breaking some sort of rule, but I've seen Manchester City bought a whole new team this year, so I don't even know what the hell is fair anymore.
I was gonna say they'll definitely find a way somehow. But
bottom line is, and I apologize for dominating the conversation.
You're fine. You're fine.
It's and Steve's distracting me. I'm assuming right?
Something probably happened with the Red Bulls or something. I'm not sure.
Right?
He's smiling. That's a good sign.
A very controversial goal just happened in the game.
Which means
okay.
Red Bulls.
By VAR, because VAR is great.
You'll have to see. I'll show you the replay later because we have a podcast to record. But man,
good.
is this one?
We all have phones.
That's all I'm going to say.
But look, at the end of the day, this is just a fascinating Champions League final with so many different storylines, and it's gonna be a tight battle. It really is. I don't know if it's gonna be a defensive struggle, or for some reason we're not gonna see that lot of goals. But with there being no fans, this is gonna sound weird, but I actually think it's a bad thing for both teams, because sometimes you feed off of the crowd to get you ready.
Right.
It's gonna be pretty quiet in that stadium, and you could get lost in your head a lot more. So I'm interested to see how this comes down. But I think also if PSG were to win, it would really help people respect French football a lot more and say, you know what, maybe it's not a farmers league. Maybe there is talent. Maybe there is some good teams there. And I think PSG in many ways is like the Chicago Cubs. It's like the lovable losers. It's like if they finally win, people are going to be going nuts.
I sort of disagree.
Outside of France, yes. Inside of France, no.
Really hated. They're one of the more hated teams in the world.
That's the thing. I think from the standpoint, if you look at
no, wait, hold on. I'm so sorry. They're hated outside of France.
No,
they're hated outside of France and inside of France.
Well, I would
both. Okay.
Because they have a lot of money. It's like a Man City. They're hated because they have a lot of money.
Right. They're hated because of the fact that they get finals. But then again, so is Manchester City. So I don't really know what the difference is. But anyway.
Fair enough.
The reason I use the Cubs is because what have the Cubs always been known to do in the last, before 2016? It was lose, choke, whatever the hell you could think of. They did it, and they didn't get it done. That's what PSG has done, especially over the last 10 years. That's really what they've done. But if they can finally get that monkey off their back, I think that they'd still get a lot of hatred, especially in their own country. But I think the amount of respect will go up a lot because people will say, okay, now that they're capable of winning a European championship, and that's what it is.
And something I will say about PSG when it comes to their fans, PSG, I have to give them credit, do a phenomenal job with marketing their team. Like
Very
10
good.
years ago, you wouldn't see one PSG kit
Hmm.
from anyone. Now they're one of the most popular kit sellers in the world.
Amen to that.
I gotcha. All right. So actually, I'm gonna twist things up a little bit. Before I ask the three of you who's going to win this game, I actually have my trivia question ready to go. If you guys are interested.
About time.
Sure.
All right. So
Oh, boy.
this is for all three of you. Now, Garrett, I gotta ask
What
you
was the
first.
trivia question the last time we did this?
What's that?
I know you did a trivia question the last time we did this, so I was just trying to remember what it was.
No, it's fine. But Garrett, I gotta ask you first. Are you a fan of the NBA? Because this is an NBA question.
That is random as hell.
I know it
That
is.
is
but
random.
I know it is, but dude, I had this question preloaded before I even knew we were discussing this. So give me a break. But
I do not know very much about the NBA, so
I'm not the only one.
I
Thank
could
you.
I could
Oh my
definitely be
God.
in the dark on this one.
I'm not the only one then. Oh my goodness. Thank
By the
you.
way, Steve, by the way,
All right. So
Boban is the best player in the NBA, hands
well
down.
then give it your best guess, but here's the question.
Big Boban fan.
There have only been 5 quadruple doubles achieved in the NBA during the 20th century. Who is responsible for 2 of them?
Oh, that's
I
crap.
have no idea.
Oh, come on, really? Even I know this.
I have a guess, but I don't think it's right.
All right, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let all 3 of you guess before I reveal the answer. So, Garrett, if you want to give your guess first, then go ahead.
Yeah, my guess is Draymond Green.
Okay, all right. Your guess is Draymond Green. Anyone else want to guess?
I gotta think, because there's a few people that come to mind.
I know.
One being Oscar Robertson.
I know this answer. I know
Whatever
this.
his name is, the guy who Russell Westbrook
Wait, 20th century. Wow, okay.
Yeah,
All right,
20th
my brain-
The guy who
century,
Russell
20th
Westbrook
century.
overtook. I
Never
can't
mind.
remember
All right,
his name.
I'm gonna rescind my answer.
Time out. He said, Garrett, what did you think it was?
He
His
said
guess
20th
was
century,
Draymond
so for
Green.
some
He
reason
thought it
I'm
was this
thinking
century.
I'm thinking in the 2000s when it should be the 1900s. So now that my brain is finally booted up, it's done buffering. I'll have to change my answer, but I'll think about it.
It's all right.
My other guess is probably Wilt Chamberlain.
Will Chamberlain. All right, Neil.
It's a good guess.
The answer is simply Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon.
Neil, you are correct. It is Hakeem
It is Hakeem.
Olajuwon. He did it on March 3rd, 1990. He had 29 points, 18 rebounds, 10 assists, and 11 blocks. And then he did it that same month on March 29th, with 18 points, 16 rebounds, 10 assists, 11 blocks.
I can tell you all 5. I can tell you the other guys that did it.
Go ahead.
I can tell you the other guys. So Nate Thurman is one of them.
Okay.
Nate Thurman, I won it. And I believe also Alvin Robertson, one of them. Robertson? I'm sorry.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, right. And also the Admiral, David Robertson.
Oh, yeah, the Admiral. All right.
So they had the other 3, and Olajuwon had 2.
Very, very good. Good stuff.
But,
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten any of those.
Maybe,
Maybe Hakeem Olajuwon, but
That's all right, Garrett.
that would have been a shot in the dark.
Honestly, Garrett, none of us, for the most part, would usually get these.
It's all right. But anyway, back to the subject at
Speaking of
hand.
the NBA, that means, geez. Should we stay on until what happens with the draft lottery?
Oh my god.
I'm not gonna watch the draft lottery.
Here's the funny thing though, and Nick, as most people know, Steve is a huge Knicks fan. Not the
Oh
greatest.
God, here we go.
Not the greatest. Might be one of the few times where if the Knicks were to actually win the first overall pick, he wouldn't be that excited about it.
I agree.
What?
I actually agree.
What?
Well, he said it earlier today. He said,
You wouldn't be excited if they got LaMelo Ball?
I am not
it's not
confident in
Zion.
this year's draft class. I'm really not.
Oh my god. I don't even know what to say to that one. But anyway, back to the subject at hand, just to quickly wrap things up here. Garrett, I'll actually go to you first for this one. Who wins the Champions League final this weekend? And by the way, just to give you an exact date here in case you don't know, it's this Sunday, August 23rd, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. on I believe it's on CBS Sports or NBC Sports.
It will be on CBS Sports Network and CBS All Access.
Okay, CBS. So with that being said, Garrett, I'll start with you. Who wins?
My gut tells me Bayern wins 3-2 after extra time.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
Okay. I like that extra time.
But
okay.
I think PSG could also win by that same scoreline. So my gut's telling me Bayern, so I'm gonna go with Bayern 3-2 after extra time. But as we've alluded to many times, either team can win this. So it could easily be 3-2 PSG. It could be 4-3 to either team.
Or it could be 8-2 again.
Yeah. I swear to God, if this is like a 0-0 draw and it goes to penalties, I'm gonna freaking lose.
I'm so pissed if that happens.
I'm gonna
Can
lose.
we not have that?
20, guys. Literally, it's going to happen. It's
like the two crazy offensive teams, and we get 0-0. That would be terrible.
Well, then again, we did have a tornado warning in Monmouth County, so anything's
in the middle of the day.
You know what I mean?
I was in my car when that was going on, so that was bull crap.
You really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you guys are at home during tornadoes. I'm driving through tropical storms. It's 2020 in a nutshell. Like, what else are we going to do?
I mean, PSG made the final 2020, right?
That's true. Liverpool were crowned Premier League champions in 2020. The world's ending.
Yeah, Napoli beat Juve in a cup. The world is really ending.
So does this mean that we're going to get a Florida Marlins?
See, if the Red Bulls win the MLS Cup, then you know the world.
Baltimore Orioles. Orioles are winning the World Series this year.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, my prediction.
Hold on. Does that mean that? Oh, geez. Does that mean the Canadians are going to come back from down 3-1 and go win the cup?
Oh Lord.
Yeah, right.
It's going to happen that way. So are the? Oh wait, does that mean the Jets are finally going to win a Super Bowl again this year? Because
the who?
Steve, what do you think? The Jets.
The Jets are going to win it. Yeah, okay. Talk to me in like 10 years. Go ahead.
Back me up here. It's
all right.
No, it's 2020. The Washington football team's going to have a winning record. I'm telling you.
Dude, I want them to make the Super Bowl so the announcer could say, "Please welcome the world champion,
Washington football team." That will be the best thing I hear this year. But anyway, Steve, I'll leave it to you now. Who wins?
Garrett sort of took my prediction. I also have 3-2 Bayern, except I have it in regulation.
Oh, okay.
That's the difference. Once again, like he said, I could see this game going either way. You know, PSG is just absolutely star-studded in every way nearly every way possible, and Bayern is just one unbelievable team. But at the end of the day, I gotta go with the team who I think is currently the best team in Europe, Bayern Munich, 3-2 regulation.
Neil?
So I have both of my jerseys here. And I was thinking maybe I would just step aside for a minute, and I'll show you who I think is going to win. I mean, some of you won't see it because, you might be listening and not watching. But why don't you just give me a second and entertain yourselves, and you'll find out in just a moment.
Well, as Neil is doing that, but no, like that. Based on what you guys were telling me about this, I actually think this is going to be a very, very interesting matchup. Because based on what you were telling me, both teams have an evenly matched system. They love to score, especially, and like we said with Neymar, it's not that I don't want to say he has a lot to prove. Like he has something to prove. The fact that he can actually win a championship without Messi and Ronaldo and all those other guys. So if Neymar can do this, like Neil said, that monkey will finally be off his back, and maybe everybody will actually everybody will actually leave him alone. Maybe, hopefully. I think some of the stuff he involves himself with off the field might still bring some criticism, but on the field, I don't think you'd be able to doubt his talent. He's been playing. Isn't that the same with Ronaldo too?
Earlier in Ronaldo's career, yeah,
okay.
But not as much now, especially when he went to Real Madrid, and even from there. I mean, I think Steven talked about it earlier. Neymar has been the difference for PSG. He's
Yeah,
finally healthy, and
if-
he's leading this team and has been a creative force. Now his finishing and his scoring hasn't been great.
Right.
The past few games, he's been either missing open, clear-cut chances or
Gotcha.
hitting the post at times. But everything leading up to shots on goal, he's been phenomenal, one of the best in the world, and we all knew he was. I think it was just a matter of him finally being healthy and finally showing that he really is starting to prove the world record fee that PSG paid for him.
Oh yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
It was highly controversial when PSG bought him, but this year, if PSG win, could finally be the year Neymar finally breaks out of Messi's shadow.
Could be, but
I
Neil
hope
is giving me a thumbs up. I assume he has his prediction. Neil,
Oh,
what was
Lord.
yours, my friend?
Oh Lord,
Give me a drum roll, please.
no.
Hold on. Oh, thanks, Steve. That was awesome.
At least I did.
Perfect 3 for 3.
It's unanimous.
All right.
3 for 3.
Yes, I am going with Bayern
We are
Munich.
gonna look like idiots if PSG wins.
Here's Samia. I believe that Bayern Munich has proven to me time and time again that it doesn't matter who they're playing. It doesn't matter the challenge that they may have. They are capable of winning. They've beaten every single type of team that you can think of, and they are not going to allow a PSG team that, even though it's very talented, very similar to theirs, by them. I think that Bayern just has too much talent, and it plays too much of a team game for PSG to really have success. I actually have Bayern Munich winning 3-1, so I don't even have.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Wow.
And this is it. You want another hot take? I'll give you another
God.
one. I believe that Robert Lewandowski will get a hat trick.
Really?
my
That would break a
God.
record if he does.
Would I think with
Okay.
that he breaks the record for most goals in a
I think
Champions
all
League season.
he needs is a brace to break the record.
Oh yeah.
I think the brace is the tie because he's on 15
The
right now,
break
right?
is the tie,
I don't remember, but I think he breaks the record if he gets 2. If he gets 3, then he shatters it.
Well, I think
okay.
I know the record is 17 that Cristiano Ronaldo has, and I think Lewandowski's on 15.
Yeah, I believe.
Okay.
But I have
The more impressive thing is that Lewandowski would have done that with 2 fewer games because of only playing 1 game in the quarterfinals and in the semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, Immobile played 1 more game than Lewandowski. That's the problem with this, and that's.
I gotcha.
And I think that if Lewandowski has a performance like I predict that he will, he's going to win the Ballon d'Or. He's going to be considered the best player.
He should
Yeah,
have.
if only there was a Ballon d'Or this year,
Yeah.
He there was.
it would be Louis, hands down.
I just remembered that. I feel like an idiot, but I just remember that there is no Ballon d'Or this year because they feel like the season doesn't count for whatever stupid reason.
I mean, the Dutch league got completely canceled.
Yeah, and
Really?
the rest of the
Yeah.
league season got canceled too. So
Like,
it's not,
well,
Yeah.
the difference between the French and Dutch league is that they handed PSG the title.
Yeah,
They actually null and voided the Dutch league.
Yeah, the Dutch league didn't have any champion. I remember that.
was there a clear cut favorite for that, or was it
Probably Ajax, if we had to guess.
No, I don't. I'm trying to remember. I knew it was pretty close. I knew it was really
We have
close.
to assume Ajax was in the fight for that one because it's Ajax. They're the best team.
They were. I can't remember off the top of my head because it felt like it was an eternity ago. But
But yeah, so
Um,
I believe that Bayern Munich will add I don't know why there's 4 stars here, but they'll add a 6 star if you want to.
Well, that's for the
You got-
league. That's for the league.
no, that's just an old jersey.
Yeah, fair enough.
The stars are for the Champions League. Neil's got it. That's just an older one.
So,
We'll talk about that later.
so bottom line is all 3 of you have Bayern Munich winning. Garrett and Steve have them winning 2. Neil has them winning 3-1. Could I actually give a prediction here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Now,
What kind of question is that?
It's your podcast.
considering the fact I know nothing about this sport, and based
Yes.
on what you told me, I feel like I should have a say here.
Give a guess, you'll probably be right.
Yeah, you clearly don't know me well enough, but
Oh, I do.
I actually also have a 3-2 final score for PSG.
Whoa.
I actually think PSG is going to
Well,
pull it off.
this
I
is
think
good.
Neymar will finally get the monkey off his back.
This is good. This is good because now we'll know at least one of us will be right. Oh,
So it's 3 versus 1. It's me versus you 3. I like it.
It's Jimmy versus the world.
Pretty much.
I don't think a lot of people are picking PSG, and I think that's just because of their past.
Interesting.
I think it's a combination of that and just Bayern being a machine.
Or as Steve likes to go, say it with me now. Bayern, gonna Bayern.
Like, I always say that for the Bundesliga. I never thought I'd be saying that for the Champions League.
Oh, dude, look, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. And, Steve, what's funny is that if Bayern wins, you will have bought me 2 jerseys that resulted in a major championship.
That's true.
Oh, my God.
I will give you that.
Straight up facts.
But you know what I find to also be interesting? I was watching a live training session with Liverpool, and they're preparing for the 2020-21 season. I'm like,
right.
This season is not over yet. It's just kind of like everyone else is already off and running with their next season, and PSG and Bayern still have to wait and finish off 1920. So this is
oh, wow. Okay.
This has been a weird year, ladies and gentlemen.
It definitely has. But
I can hear Steve Cangelosi talking in the background that loud.
Typical Kanji. Typical Kanji. You probably hear Shep Messing rambling too.
Are you trying to get us demonetized?
Oh my God. Anyway, on that note, bottom line is Garrett and Steve have Bayern winning 3-2. Neil has Bayern winning 3-1. I have PSG winning 3-2 for the Champions League final. And on that note, that'll wrap it up for this episode of the Bottom Line Podcast. If you have any thoughts on any of this, let us know on Twitter at BottomLineWMCX, at the NVP Show, and on Instagram at BottomLineWMCX, hashtag BottomLine. Leave a voice message on the Anchor app or Anchor.fm, and be sure you leave a like and a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. Helps tremendously, and please make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, as well as on Apple, Google, and Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Just include my first name, Jimmy, when searching for this podcast. But Steve, Garrett, our friends, always an absolute pleasure to have you guys on. Thank you guys so much, and we'll definitely have you back again real soon.
Hey, thank you for having us again. This was fun.
Always appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you too. And that'll wrap it up for us. Neil, we'll talk again next week, my man.
Sounds good.
For Neil Villapiano, Steve Durso, and Garrett Novak, I'm Jimmy Finizzi. This is the Bottom Line Podcast. See you in the next episode. Peace out.